This is a comparison of the number of people who saw a film at a cinema in each country. At 24.5 million, India has the biggest number of cinemagoers in the world. Action was the most popular genre in India, while horror was the least popular, at 2.5 million. Despite this, Japan is the country with the lowest number of cinemagoers, at 17.8 million. At 7.1 million viewers, action was the most popular genre, while horror was the least popular, at 2.2 million. In terms of total number of moviegoers, India has the largest number while Japan has the lowest. Precipitation fluctuations across land may be seen on the map, which dates back to 1900. We can see from the map that there were both increases and decreases in precipitation throughout this time period, with Africa seeing the greatest rise in precipitation. However, in North America, Asia, and the vast majority of Oceania, the number of deaths was reduced. Furthermore, rainfall in China and the center of Africa rose by 2 to 5%. Finally, the image depicts variations in precipitation distribution. The following graph gives information about renewable energy. The items include heating and cooling, transport and power. You can see from this graph that there are two thermometers in heating and cooling, one of which is 51% renewable energy and the other is 10% renewable energy. This graph shows that transportation includes a ship and an aircraft, with a total of 32% renewable energy. This graph shows that there is a plug-in power source, which is 17 with 26 renewable energy sources. This graph shows that there is an arrow underneath power, indicating that the percentage of renewable energy is increasing. It's a lovely image that conveys a lot of information. Finally, this graph is quite useful. This is a graph displaying the global monthly average of carbon dioxide in parts per million. After adjusting for the normal seasonal cycle, the dashed red line shows the worldwide monthly mean values of carbon dioxide. From 2013 to 2018, the graph indicates that the worldwide monthly average of carbon dioxide has steadily climbed. It was lowest at 394 parts per million in 2013 and highest at 405 parts per million in 2017. Generally speaking, the worldwide monthly average of carbon dioxide was lowest for 2013 and highest for 2017. The percentage of Japan's tuna exports to various areas is shown in the table from 2015 to 2016. Oceania and North America received 35% and 30% of all tuna shipments, respectively, while the Middle East received 3% and Africa received 2%. Despite this, imports of tuna from the Middle East increased by 60% over the previous year, while those from the continent of Africa decreased by 17%. Overall, tuna from Japan was most popular in Oceania and North America, while the Middle East had the greatest growth in exports. This chart illustrates the various types of job and their corresponding earnings for men and women. Full-time, part-time, and casual employment are all options. According to the graph, full-time male employers with incomes of $2,000 and $420 each have the greatest and lowest figures for males. However, part-time female employers earn an average of $1,900 annually, which is the most of any gender. In addition, informal occupations contribute to the median wage. To summarize, men's and women's incomes are more unequally distributed. The pie chart below shows how commuters in Sydney, Australia use various modes of transportation. 60% of commuters rode the train, but 10% used the bus or a cab. People who walked, cycled, or drove accounted for only 5% of the population. Public transportation was used by the majority of commuters, while personal vehicles were utilized by just a small minority. In the graph, you can see the minimal ice thicknesses. The pickup truck, with a population of about 15, has the most, as shown by the graph. On the graph, the second largest number is found in the sedan, which clocks in at approximately 12. The graph clearly shows that the male has the least number, which is approximately 4. The graph demonstrates that ice is never completely secure. The countries of origin of 2009's Australian immigrants are depicted in this pie chart. Immigrants from other nations make up the majority of the population, 51%. On the heels of them came New Zealand, with 20%, China, 12%, and the United Kingdom, with 12%, 9%. India was the least frequent nation of origin, 8%. India was the least frequent country of origin, with other nations being the most common. From 1911 to 2011, the percentage of persons of various ages in the United Kingdom is depicted in this graph. The percentage of the population between the ages of 15 and 64 has remained constant over time. From 5% in 1911 to approximately 20% in 2011, the number of adults 65 and older has climbed steadily. A large portion of the population was aged 15 to 64, while the elderly population expanded with time. E-waste is depicted as a graph in this article. The graph shows that, when looking at electronic trash, DVD/VCR players, radios, and hi-fi sets, for example, account for roughly 15% of the total. According to the graph, the second largest percentage of electronic waste may be found in television, which accounts for roughly 10%. Figures from the graph clearly show that refrigerators use the least amount of electricity, accounting for about 20% of the total. As a result, we may conclude that the graph is really useful. The given image shows information on various household items and appliances for the year 2008 and 2013 in Georgia. There is no doubt that as compared to the year 2008, the percentages of all the items listed are more in 2013. If I closely look at the graph, I can say that cell phones and color TVs are the two listed items seem to be the commonest among Georgians as they measure more than 65% in all the years. On the other hand, they have a very few air condition units that are 5% and 7% in their dwellings in both the years. Cars and automatic washing machines are also less compared to other items. Overall, I can say that Georgians have more consumer goods in 2013 than in 2008. How to get complete health is depicted in this artwork. The 3 pillars of a healthy lifestyle are diet and nutrition, physical fitness, and stress reduction and relaxation. Motivation, positive change, and health and well-being are all attributes that can help you achieve these ideals of perfect health. Attaining 100% health requires focusing on 3 main areas. The graph below depicts the creation of water channels and how they can be produced. We can see a meander in the first photo, and there are many trees along the meander. There is also a neck in the middle of the meander. However, when we move to the next stage, the sand becomes deposited in the river and eventually, it becomes silt around the river neck, thus there is a new channel has created, and a new oxbow lake has begun to flow in this direction. To summarize, water and sand pressures are required to sculpt the channels of the oxbow lake. Using this graph, you can see the most common ways of transportation in the past. Between the years 1500 and 1850, horses and bicycles were widely utilized. They were only able to reach 15 miles per hour on average. After 1800, steam-powered locomotives with top speeds of 75 miles per hour began to be deployed. Automobiles have become the primary form of mobility in modern life since the turn of the century. Transportation methods have vastly advanced since the time of Henry VIII. From 1994 to 2004, The graph below shows data on energy generation in China by kind. It steadily grew from 600 in 1994 to 1500 in 2004 for conventional thermal. When we look at the hydropower, we can see that it was quite constant at roughly 100 during the time span. It has risen rapidly for the entire generation between the years of 900 and 2000, and from 1994 to 2004. To summarize, conventional thermal still accounts for the majority of China's energy generation. The pie graphic illustrates the market share of vehicle types in 2016 and 2017, measured in percent. Passengers vehicles were the most popular automobiles in 2016, taking 41.3% of the market. However, their market share declined to 37.8% in 2017, the year that SUV automobiles had the biggest market share at 39.2%. Heavy commercial automobiles acquired the lowest segment of the market in both 2016, 2.8%, and 2017, 3.1%. 3.1%. Overall, SUVs and passenger vehicles have the biggest market share, whereas heavy commercial automobiles have the lowest. The pie chart shows how much of a person's diet should come from each of the food groups shown. The majority of the chart is made up of fruits and vegetables. Second place goes to starchy meals like bread, rice, and pasta. The data shows that foods and beverages heavy in fat and sugar make up the least percentage of the total. Using this pie chart, health clinics may counsel patients on how to consume a nutritious diet. Dieters are urged by the graph to consume a diet high in fresh produce and low in fats and sugars. The Far East Shopping Center is shown on this map as part of a neighborhood in the city. Nearby the Royal Thai Embassy, the retail mall is positioned in the middle of Orchard Road and Orchard Boulevard. Both Lyot Towers and Wheelock Place are located on the right side of the Forum Shopping Mall, which includes the Hilton and Four Seasons hotels and the Forum Shopping Mall. At General, the Far East Shopping Center is located in a central location on the map shown. This graph shows how much money the government spends on each of the many education sectors. Shows exactly how the $11 billion education investment fund has been used. Especially interesting. There are many various levels of education represented by the pyramid, from preschool to college. Schools have received the most money, with an estimated $3-4 billion spent on them in the past year. Then comes vocational and technical education, $2 billion, and higher education, $1.8 billion. With only between $0.8 billion and $1.4 billion going toward early childhood education, this was the least expensive phase of the program. Compared to other areas of public spending, schools have received far more of the government's attention.